Welcome to Aquarium Live, this episode of the Aquarium Online Academy, brought to you by the Aquarium of the Pacific in Long Beach, California. My name is Stacy, and I'm going to be hanging out with you all today to explore the world of senses. So I hope you are ready to investigate. We are going to be making some observations, and the best way for us to make observations during this episode is to use our eyes to see what we can see, and also to use our ears to hear what we can hear. All right, so I hope that you are ready for those investigations, because I'm going to need your help. Now, if you see something and you would like to share, or if you have some questions about anything we talk about in our episode of our online academy today, all you need to do is send us a text. The text number is right down there. It's 562-286-1838. Now, for our younger viewers out there, please make sure that you ask for permission before you text, because data rates may apply. Now, if you're watching this and it's not live streaming, because we do record it and show it at a later date on our the Aquarium's YouTube channel, all you need to do there is email us. And that email address is right down here too. Oh, what there? It's live@lbaop.org. So 2 ways to get a hold of us here at the Aquarium. Now, today we're going to be talking about senses, and we're going to start the whole thing off by taking a look at some fish. So let's observe some fish and kind of see, what senses do you think they have? Now, we have senses, right? We can see. This is all part of making observations. We can see with our eyes. We can hear with our ears. What else can we do? We can smell with our nose. That's my favorite thing if somebody's maybe baking cookies. I love to smell with my nose. We can feel things, okay? So we have the sense of touch. And we can, of course, taste things too, inside our mouth. All right, so those are the 5 senses we have. We can see, we can hear, we can smell, we can touch, and we can taste. So those are ours. But what about other animals? Do you think other animals can do the same things as us? Do you think they can maybe even do more? Well, that is our investigation today. So fish have a lot of senses, right? That's how they get around in their world. And those senses are going to be incredibly important to them. So let's watch these fish here behind me as they're moving around. Do you think they can see? Well, I do see eyes, so I'm thinking yes. Do you think they can hear? Do you see any ears on the fish? I don't know. We'll have to investigate. And let's see, what about smelling, touching, taste? Oh man, we're really going to have to do some investigations out there. Now, luckily, my friend Captain Joe of the Ocean Rangers is available to help us explore today. So Captain Joe is I hope he is positioned in a place to chat with us for a little bit. Let's see what he's up to. Captain Joe, are you around?
Hello, boys and girls. Hi. Captain Joe of the Ocean Rangers. Now, I'm here observing this huge group of fish behind me, and just watching them, have you ever wondered on how they all move together and turn at the same exact time? I always thought this as well, and I think this is a great place for us to start our exploration of senses today. Now, there are many reasons why a fish would be in a group or school. Well, not that kind of school. I'm talking about a group of fish. It's called a school. Now, so many different reasons why they would be in it. Maybe finding food, avoiding predators, even getting new boyfriends and girlfriends. But have you ever wondered why they can do this or how?
Well, that's a really great question, Captain Joe. I think that's a good place for us to start our exploration about senses.
Well, it just so happens that fish have the same senses as us, but they use them a little differently sometimes too. In addition to taste, smell, hearing, sight, and touch, they can also sense movement. And this is because of a special line of nerves down their side called a lateral line.
Exactly. So a lateral line. Oh, I think you paused there, Captain Joe. I don't know. We'll check it out. So a lateral line. A lateral line is this line down the side of a fish, and it's almost like having little holes in their body in the shape of a line, and those little holes have something that looks a lot like a little hair. Now, here's a really cool thing. Oh, look at this. You can actually see the lateral line on this baby giant sea bass. Do you see this line right here? All the little teeny tiny polka dots? That's the lateral line. So there's a whole bunch of tiny little holes with something that looks like a hair inside. And, we actually had a viewer here say that fish can feel hearing through waves. And that's kind of true, right? Because basically, this lateral line here has those little hair-like things. And when the waves or the water moves, it actually wiggles the hair. And the fish can feel that and know that something's kind of moving next to it. So it's a really interesting thing. That's a really good way to know that your neighbor next to you just made a left turn or a right turn or maybe went up or down. So they can actually feel movement with that line right there on the side. So again, that is a lateral line. It's just amazing, Captain Joe.
That is amazing. And not only that, but
what happened?
Studio, I think I just felt something swoosh against my arm here.
A swoosh?
Definitely felt something.
I didn't see anything, Captain Joe. What?
There it was
What?
again. Boys and girls, I think there is something in here with me. I just don't
Uh-oh. All right. So it looks like Captain Joe's having some technical difficulties. I think I'm actually going to send somebody else here at the aquarium up to go check on him. I'm like this much worried because, Captain Joe is a trained ocean ranger. I have a feeling he'll be able to handle this situation to the best of his ability. I'm sure he'll be fine. He'll be fine. Yeah. We'll send somebody up, though. Can you just go check on... Okay. Thank you. Okay. So Captain Joe, we'll check in with him a little bit later. Maybe once we get the okay and maybe help him out with the camera and stuff. I'm not sure what happened there. Now, while we're checking on him, I think let's play a puzzle. Now, these puzzles are pretty fun. Basically, we have a picture that we're going to show you here, but I'm only going to show you little parts of that puzzle. When we show you little parts of the puzzle, I want you to make observations. You're going to use your eyes to try to see what you notice. What do you notice in this picture? And from what you notice, what kind of animal is it? All right, so that's your clue. It is definitely an animal. I bet you it has something to do with the ocean as well. Maybe it calls the ocean its home or habitat. So let's take a look. Now, if you think you know what this animal is, send us a text. All right, so do you remember what our text number is? We'll bring it up. It's right there, 562-286-1838. Okay, I hope you're ready. Let's do this. Okay, this is where we're going to stop. So now you can see some parts of this animal. What do you notice? I notice it's kind of dark in color. Yeah, interesting. I noticed there's kind of a bluish gray up here. Oh, what's down here? Huh, it looks like maybe a rock? Interesting. Well, if that's a rock... Oh, what is that? Well, we're finding some good clues here, right? There's this right here. I think it looks like a foot. It's kind of a dark gray here. I see a little bit of black here. What do you think this could be? Well, we'll give it another few seconds. Let me get out of the way here so you can see the whole thing. Now, again, if you think you might know what this is, send us a text, 562-286-1838. Now, you can also just tell somebody else in the room, or tell the screen even. You can just tell me through the screen. That's totally fine. What kind of animal is this? Even if we don't know 100% the exact kind of animal, do we know anything about this animal just by making observations of the bits and parts that we can see? Now, here we have a couple of guesses. We have duck, bird, penguin, eagle, and seagull. Ooh, I love all of these guesses. You know, one thing that all of these guesses have in common is bird. Why did you think it was a bird? What did you see here that made you think it was a bird? Well, let's go ahead and check by looking at the rest of our puzzle. Ha ha! It is absolutely a bird. This bird is a very special bird called a crested auklet. It's a pretty neat bird. We call them diving birds because you want to know what they do? They dive. That's right. They actually dive into the water to catch their food. Now, what kind of food do you think they would eat? How would we find out? If you were just going to make observations here, what would you look at? That bright orange beak? Yeah, that bright orange beak right there. Take a look at it. It's not a giant mouth. It's kind of itty-bitty. So we know that its food is going to be a little bit on the smaller side. Maybe something like a very small fish, or maybe krill, which is like a very small shrimp. So that's the kind of stuff that a crested auklet eats. One of my favorite parts of a crested auklet is that cool little feather right there. It has fun little feathers up here to look pretty fancy. And so it's nice to look fancy, right? The other thing that it's really hard to do over the streaming video here, but they smell really interesting. So if we were to use our sense of smell and we were around crested auklets, you might smell something that smells like a tangerine. And that's actually a smell that it makes. That's what they smell like. It's pretty crazy. And that's kind of how they talk with each other, is through smell. So crested auklets also have some pretty fantastic senses. So if they smell like tangerines to talk with each other, they obviously can smell, yes? We see a little eye there so we can see. I bet you there's a little tongue in there. I wonder if it can taste really well. Do you think it can feel? Like if we were to touch it, would it feel that? I bet you it would. I don't recommend touching them, though. They're wild animals, so we definitely want to give them some space. And what about hearing? Do you think they can hear anything? Well, I don't see any ears like us, but they can. Their ears are just kind of on the inside only, so they actually do have little ears in there. We just can't see them from the outside. So they actually have all the same senses as us, and that's pretty cool. Now, I actually have a note here. They have really good eyesight. Cool. They have those really great eyes to help them to do lots of things, like see where they're going, hunt for their food. All of that is really necessary for them to survive. Now, I'm hoping that Captain Joe has been situated by now. I got word from the person that I sent up there that he's okay. So let's go ahead and check in with Captain Joe, see what he's up to, maybe find out what happened even. So, Captain Joe, are you around?
My octopus and I could play baseball together. We'd be a whole team all by ourselves.
He's reading a story.
Can you imagine
Captain
that?
Joe.
That'd be so crazy.
Captain Joe, what are you doing?
Studio.
Yeah, no. I don't think we need to call for help.
No bones.
Captain Joe. What kind of octopus is that, Captain Joe?
Well, it's a purple one. The kind that eats ocean rangers.
Captain Joe, octopuses don't eat ocean rangers. They eat things like crabs and shrimp.
Well, that's good news.
Yeah. I think you need to learn more about octopuses.
Yeah, you're probably right. But I wonder where I could learn more information about octopuses.
Well, if you look behind you, you're in front of the exhibit. Yeah, the exhibit's right behind you.
Oh.
Just look back there.
So I am.
Yeah.
I bet you we can find an expert really close that can teach us all about these awesome animals.
That's a fantastic idea, Captain Joe. All right, so I think Captain Joe's going to go look for an expert, and it should be pretty quick because he's right by the octopus exhibit. That's the place where our giant Pacific octopus lives, a very cool octopus. And the person who takes care of that octopus knows a lot about those octopuses. So I really hope that he's able to find her. Now, if you do have questions, again, there's our number. But while we wait for Captain Joe to go find one of those experts, let's maybe check in with our Molina Animal Care Center. Now, our Molina Animal Care Center is a really great place here at the Aquarium of the Pacific. This is our doctor's office or our animal hospital. If any of our animals need extra care from our veterinarian or animal doctor, this is a place that they can go. Now, our vet does house calls too. He'll actually go over to where the animals live sometimes. But if we need the animal to maybe have a closer visit, or if we know that we can take the animal very safely to the doctor's office where all the equipment is, we'll actually take them down to this building. So we're going to take a look inside and learn a little bit more about some of the animal health care that we have here at our aquarium. Here we go.
Hi boys and girls and ocean rangers. My name is Shara Seals and I'm a veterinary technician here at the Molina Animal Care Center. This is our veterinary hospital for all of our animals here at the aquarium. We do take care of a lot of different types of animals here, from the smallest of fish to the biggest of sea lions, and then birds and reptiles too. Today I'm going to tell you a little story about one of our reptiles, Lloyd. He's a chuckwalla. His keepers noticed him acting a little differently, and so they brought him to the hospital so that we could check him out. Dr. Adams examined him, and I took x-rays of him, and this is what we found. Reptiles don't drink a lot of water, so waste doesn't pass through them like it should. Over time, inside Lloyd's bladder, this grew. It got too big, so we had to take him to surgery to remove it. Let me show you our operating room. This is where we performed Lloyd's surgery. All right, this is our operating table. For Lloyd's surgery, we put him under anesthesia with this machine right here, which means he went to sleep for a little while. And while he was sleeping, we listened to his heart and his lungs, and we even monitored his temperature with this mat that's kept him warm during surgery. During Lloyd's surgery, we were able to remove this, and afterwards we gave him stitches so that he could heal. After a couple of weeks, the keepers brought Lloyd back to the vet hospital to remove his stitches. Lloyd was an excellent patient, and now he feels much better. Thanks for joining me.
So that was really neat to be able to take a look at some of the healthcare that we have at the aquarium. And did you know that we had reptiles like lizards here at the aquarium? So it's a really neat thing to kind of take a peek inside and behind the scenes. Now, one of our viewers just told us that they live in Arizona and they actually have wild chuckwallas. That's fantastic. They are amazing animals. They're really beautiful. And they have tons of senses too, right? Animals have these senses to help them survive out there in their natural habitats, as well as here at the Aquarium of the Pacific. Now, let's see if Joe was able to find an expert to learn a little bit more about octopuses. I hope that he'll share with us so we can learn more too.
Hello, boys and girls. Guess what? I found an expert that works here at the aquarium. This is Angelina.
I'm an aquarist here at the Aquarium of the Pacific. I take care of some of our fish and invertebrates that live in our cold water exhibits in our Northern Pacific Gallery. My favorite animal to take care of here at the aquarium is our giant Pacific octopus.
Now, we're here talking about senses today, Angelina. Could you tell us about some of the senses that an octopus has?
Octopuses are pretty amazing, Captain Joe. As you can see, she can change her color and her texture to camouflage herself while living in her exhibit. Now, not only can she do that, but she has hundreds of suction cups down her arm that she uses to grasp things like her food, as well as explore her exhibit. And she's really, really strong. Now, not only is she really, really strong, but with those suction cups, she can even taste.
Now, taste. We talked about this beforehand. Do giant Pacific octopuses eat ocean rangers?
Oh no, they don't eat ocean rangers. Our octopus here at the aquarium likes to eat fish, shrimp, squid, clam, mussels, and especially crab.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Angelina, on teaching us about our giant Pacific octopus. She's very, very cool. We're going to go ahead and head right back to you guys at the studio.
All right, thanks everybody. I'm so glad that Joe was able to find Angelina because we were able to learn a lot more about octopuses, right? Now, if you have some questions about octopuses, I'm hoping that I can actually help you answer those questions. All you need to do is send us a text here. Now, I do want to show you some really interesting things about those animals, though. So, an octopus is an invertebrate. It's not a fish. Now, fish have a skeleton. If you've ever eaten fish before, you've probably actually seen the bones in a fish, right? But an octopus doesn't have bones. It's an invertebrate, an animal with no bones. So if you take a look here, it would have a weird skeleton if it even had a skeleton, right? So it actually has no bones at all, no skeleton. In fact, they're super soft. The only hard parts of an octopus are the mouth, which is called a beak, and also a little tiny part of its eye. Now, the mouth is located right here between all of the arms. That's where it's going to eat its food. Where are the eyes located? Can you see them in this picture? There's one there, and there's the other one right there. So those are the only parts that are kind of harder of the octopus. The rest of them is really quite soft. Now, here's the really cool thing about being squishy, like an octopus. They can actually fit into very small spaces. In fact, an octopus can squeeze through a space as long as its mouth, because that's the biggest part of it, that's hard. As long as its mouth can squeeze through, the whole octopus can squeeze through. So they are pretty good at being able to hide. Now, what else do they have that's going to help them hide? You may have heard Angelina say something about changing colors. That's right. An octopus is actually a master at changing color. Now, what I mean by that is camouflage. You know what camouflage is? Have you heard that word before? If you haven't, you want to try to say it. Say camouflage. Camouflage is basically being able to hide in your habitat. Now, let's take a look here. Do you see an octopus? I'll tell you, its camouflage is incredible. Now, for camouflage, it might be a shape. It might be a texture, so bumpy or smooth or ripply. That's a texture, like how it feels. It might even be a color. So those are some different ways that camouflage can work for animals. Now, I don't know. It's really tough to see if there's an octopus here in this picture. Why don't we play this picture, it's actually a video, and see where the octopus is hiding? Wow. Incredible camouflage, don't you think? Did you notice where it was before it changed colors to that darker red-brown color? Look at that. Now, we did say that the color is a big change, right? But we also mentioned texture. So the bumpiness of the skin. Did you see that it was kind of smoothish when it was that red-brown? Just a little bit bumpy, but it was really bumpy when it was up against the rocks because the rocks were also bumpy. Now let's take a look again at an octopus and some camouflage. Okay, so it's very easy to see the octopus now. Wow. What about now? Is it easier or hard to see that octopus? It's a little tougher, right? And in fact, if we didn't know it was settled down there and if it was just hanging out there, it might be really hard to see. But you can see that smooth, darker skin, and then it settles onto the reef here. You see how bumpy its surroundings are? And the octopus made itself bumpy. It's pretty amazing what an octopus can do to hide in its environment, but that's another way it's going to survive. Hiding like this is really great if you have predators out there that are trying to eat you or, trying to find you to eat. So this is a way for them to stay hidden and safe from predators, but it also helps them stay hidden from their prey, from their food. They can get a little bit closer, or maybe the prey even walks up to them and they can just snag them really easily. Now, I have a question here. Why is the head shaped like that? That's actually a fantastic question. So typically when we think about an octopus, they actually look like a whole bunch of arms, right? With a head. And that's like all it kind of looks like. In fact, these animals are called cephalopods. That's kind of a scientific grouping of animals. And they get the name because it's cephalo means head and pod means foot. So it's like almost like a giant head with feet. That's an octopus. Or if you think about it, a squid, its cousin is also a cephalopod. Now, this whole thing is actually not its head. It's crazy. It looks like a giant head, but its head is where the eyeballs are. So this right here, this is where the eyes are. This is also where its central brain is located. So that's the head. This big thing right here is actually its body. This is where all of its organs are. So all of its guts on the inside here. If you think about it, for us, inside here we have our heart, we have our lungs, we have our stomach. All of those things are inside our bodies, right? This right here is their body. And inside there, they have their hearts. And that's right, I said S. That means they actually have more than one heart. They have 3. And they also have their stomach in there. They also have their gills because we have lungs when we breathe air. Breathe in, breathe out. We just took air into our body. It went into these lungs, these like bags inside our body. The air goes inside and we can get oxygen that we need to survive. For them, they don't breathe air. They get their oxygen from water. So the gills inside their bodies, when the water goes inside the body from a little hole that's right here, the water goes inside their body, it goes to their gills, the gills can get the oxygen, and then they push the water out of their body. So that's how they breathe. So it's a really interesting thing. We have a lot of parts inside of our body that they actually have inside theirs, but they might just be a little bit different. So octopuses are absolutely amazing creatures. And if you want to know more about them, I encourage you to take a look at some of the recorded videos that we have about octopuses. We actually have some episodes to really dive into 30 minutes of learning about an octopus. Now, I think we have a question of the day to help us maybe test what we learned about octopuses. So shall we check it out? Let's see what we can remember from our octopus exploration, especially our senses. So here's our little octopus buddy. Hi there. And their question is, what is an octopus's favorite food? They're going to use their senses to find that food. Oh, one of the coolest scents is tasting with their suction cups. Angelina told us that, right? So that means if they just touched a food item, they could taste it. Crazy! So do you think their favorite food is A, crab, B, fish, or C, jellyfish or sea jellies? What do you think? Crab, fish, or jellies? What is their favorite food? Good question, right? Well, we know they don't eat ocean rangers. We've already established that, right? So, what do they like to eat? What is their favorite? They eat a lot of different things. They actually have a pretty good diet. Lots of different types of things. Let's see. I have a guess here that came in. A crab, perhaps? Well, why don't we see by watching an octopus Let's see if our little octopus friend here, oh, there it is. Which food will it choose? The crab! That's right. So, octopuses love to eat crab. In fact, it's one of their favorite foods ever. And it's actually a food that we can use to kind of help our octopuses explore their exhibit a little bit more. In fact, we do this thing called enrichment. We give them toys, we give them puzzles, we give them lots of fun things for an octopus to challenge an octopus. So it has something to do. Because isn't it fun to do things? Now let's see, we see our octopus here. What else do you notice in our video? Did you notice this right here? This green and yellow boat? What is inside that boat? Oh my goodness, it looks like our octopus is wearing puffy pants. All right, well here's a boat. And look at that, its favorite food, it's crab. Let's see what our octopus does. I wonder if it knows that there's a crab in the boat. Or maybe it needs to investigate with its senses. Let's see what it does. Oh, I see its arms moving towards the boat. Here it comes. And do you see all those suction cups on the bottom of their arms there? There it goes. Oh, it's touching the boat with its suction cups. It can taste it now. And I bet you it must taste a little bit like crab with a crab sitting right there inside. Now, remember, this crab is the octopus's favorite food, so how is it going to get that crab? Well, the easiest way to get that crab is to sink the boat. Oh, that's super cool. So now the octopus took the crab and the boat down here where its mouth is located. So remember, between all of those arms, and it's trying to get the crab out of the boat. Now, do you think it's going to eat the boat? Nah, the boat is a boat. It's plastic. It's not crab. So the boat's here. It doesn't want to eat a boat. It just took the crab away. And there we go. Now we know an octopus's favorite food is crab. Concha, nice job. You got it. Definitely a crab. Thanks so much for joining us this morning. Now, everyone, this is awesome. I'm so glad that you were able to join us here for Aquarium Live to hang out with me and our friend Captain Joe to learn more about some of the senses that animals have out there. Now, we are all done with our program, this program, but we do have another one coming up where we're going to investigate more about invertebrates. Remember, invertebrates, animals without bones. We just got a chance to take a look at that octopus. I wonder what else we can learn about other animals without bones at the Aquarium of the Pacific that live in the ocean. All right, everybody, thanks again for joining us. See you later.